Unveiling with Dr. Sakonja. I am joined by another amazing guest, Sonya Jenkins. She is a filmmaker, an actress, a writer and author, and also an entertainment correspondent, has been all around the world, has met every superstar that you could think of. Her star shines so bright, and I'm so blessed to call Sonya a friend, a sister.
Thank you.
We have, Sonya and I met together because we both used to be flight attendants from Delta.
Yes.
But Sonya has always been doing amazing things. So she is a super boss. And she is incredible. Sonya is so very well organized, so very focused. Sonya, I just want to say welcome, and I'm always honored to be in your presence.
Oh, Dr. Sakonja, that means so much to me.
Yeah,
that
I
really
am.
does, and I am so happy to be here. Incredibly happy to be here.
Yes, well, we thank you for joining us today. And I just want to talk about faith with you and how you have grown in your faith and how you learned your faith. How did that begin?
Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So that is in the Word of God. And as a kid, my mother taught me, she's resting in peace, but she taught me to always have faith, no matter what I pursued in life. I always dreamed big. When I was a young girl, I saw figures on television, and I said, Mom, I want to do that. And I always loved to write. So I knew that I was going to have a creative career, either on television or writing, and it has become both.
Yes.
So faith for me was something that was instilled in me from both my mom and my dad.
Oh, wow.
Just having faith and believing that you can do all things through Christ.
Yes, who strengthens us,
That's
right? And
right.
it's so very important to know that. And not just, by reciting, but understanding that deep down in our spirit and soul. And so as a foundation, when you get that as a foundation, you can kind of branch out from there. So tell us about how you became such a beautiful butterfly.
Oh, that's great that you would say that. Well, butterflies have a metamorphosis.
Yes, and how did that happen?
And basically, when I was a little girl, I was on the quiet side, and everything pretty much starts from your history, and you become what you envision yourself to become.
Yes.
If you envision yourself to become someone who is a social butterfly, then that's what you become. And believe it or not, I used to write in diaries when I was very young, from the time I was about 8 years old. And I still have diaries from when I was 10 years old now. And I would write down things that I wanted to do in life. And sometimes I would create stories. I would create stories, and I would be someone like a Diana Ross or a newscaster. And I would just imagine myself mingling with people and being outgoing. I wasn't as outgoing as I am now as a child, but I would just imagine myself as a cheerleader. And then I tried out for cheerleading. And then I would imagine myself making straight A's.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Made straight A's.
You did? Oh,
Not
wow.
all the time.
Okay, but most of the time. That's
Sometimes.
hey, that's good enough.
It was some B's in there.
Wow.
But I knew the importance of having a vision and seeing yourself as someone that was successful, seeing yourself as someone who was a godly person. And my mother made us go to church. So hearing the Word of God and also the vision, they say write the vision and make it plain. I had no clue when I was 10 years old that I was writing the vision.
And making it plain.
I had no clue.
You were just imagining.
I was just imagining.
And dreaming.
There were magazines that I would read. I know not only imagine, just looking at the celebrities in the magazines, I envisioned interviewing the celebrities.
Wow.
And I became a journalist, entertainment journalist, started honing my craft when I was in high school, actually. So by the time I was in college, I started writing for a magazine. I thought I wanted to become a sports reporter. But when I went to Entertainment Tonight at 20 years old to have an internship now, I said, you know what, entertainment news is for me.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. So I started interviewing really young and started meeting a lot of celebrities, and also just staying focused in my faith, knowing that the world of entertainment sometimes is all that glitters isn't gold. And there are a lot of temptations, there are a lot of opportunities, but you don't have to take every opportunity that comes your way. And that's a part of choosing what you do and choosing who you serve.
Right.
And I knew that I wasn't going to make a fool of myself. My mom, allowed me to do a lot of the things that I wanted to do as a little girl. And she said, okay, I'm gonna let this butterfly fly.
Yes, yes.
But she did not put she wasn't extremely strict. But I knew that I didn't want to disappoint her or my dad. But I definitely didn't want to disappoint my mom.
Yes.
And so when I went to college and started really studying journalism, it was natural to me. I think it was innate because I started writing so early.
Tell me about, I love the part where you talk about your imagination, because imagination can build a nation, and we see that with Walt Disney as he built the Disney mega business and fun place for people to go now, and how it has just evolved into this humongous organization or company and film, and it's just one thought just spanned and opened up for so many different things. When you talk about your imagination and just writing and imagining as a child, what would you say to a parent who has a child that is creative and imagining things and may not understand it?
Well, I would allow that child to just free flow. Rappers free flow and musicians. And there are times in a child's life where they don't need to have direction all the time. Even though the Word of God says, train a child in the way that he should go and he won't depart. At times you have to see what that child is gifted at. And you have to allow that child to have that imagination in order to see what that child is gifted at. I unfortunately don't have any kids. I love kids. But kids are drawn to me because I think that you have to allow kids to be themselves.
Yes.
And I was like that as a child. I said, Mom, just let me get in the room and dance to the Jackson 5, and she would let me.
Yes.
She would let me dance to the Jackson 5. She would let me do my little cartwheels. She would let me write.
I love that.
And I stayed in order because, like I said, if you have the foundation of what is being taught, if you have that foundation, you're grounded, then it's not that difficult when a child starts. Maybe they'll start doing something that you don't necessarily like. And when I say that, I don't mean anything out of order. I mean, a prime example, my nephew wanted to be a rapper. He wanted to be a rapper. Now, he's a preacher's son, and he wanted to be a rapper.
Yes.
And I actually took him on his photo shoots
wow.
that he could do the photo shoots and say, this is how it goes. You have to get a manager. You have to get out there, do your raps. And a little while later, he's actually became a football player.
Oh, wow. That's different.
He has the talent.
Yes.
Because his grandfather was a musician. So he still has that talent. And believe it or not, I have 3 projects on Amazon Prime, and all of his music is in my projects.
That is amazing,
all of
Sonya.
his beats are in my projects.
Oh, that is incredible. And when you talk about your nephew, it brings to thought about how generation blessings are passed down and the gifts are passed down. And you talked about your grandfather being a musician. Any other talents?
It was on his
on his side.
But you know what?
On your side.
You know, even though it's pretty new, it's very new for me. I lost my mom.
And I'm so
my
sorry,
mom
my prayers.
was a librarian and an English teacher. My mom's love for literature inspired me and motivated me. So her love for books became something that I, you know, loved as well. And her mom was a farmer. Her dad was a farmer, so she came from that background. But she wanted to go to school, and she got her degree in education. And although I'm not an educator, I'm still an educator.
You are. You are. You are in your many books and films. And I know that, again, your inspiration, you're a believer, and I know you get inspiration from different things. Tell us how you would get your inspiration for a film or one of your books, and then we'll talk about your projects in particular.
My projects are long-standing projects that I've envisioned for decades, no lie. For decades. When I was in college, I started thinking about Shayla's Catch. It's my first novel. It's called Shayla's Catch. It's a romance novel about a young lady looking for love. But is she looking for love in all the wrong places? You have to read the story.
Yes.
It's about a young lady who falls in love with a professional athlete, and she lacks self-esteem. And she has to find herself, as well as, and especially, a relationship with God in order to know that she is a catch. It's called Shayla's Catch.
Yes.
But is she the catch, or is he the catch?
Yeah, so it's like she had to have an awakening, like a bright light had to come off and say, hey, I'm the prize, right?
Right. Sometimes it's not even the bright light. Sometimes it's a process of a little small light.
Yes, it is.
Like,
yes.
And that's life.
Yes.
That's life. Because sometimes the road to love and the road to just life in general, it's not easy. And this shows how a young lady has a desire, which is to get married to someone who's respectful, someone who's good looking, someone who has finances, and she just kind of gets caught up in his world. She gets caught up in his world, and it just shows how you have to have love for yourself.
Yes.
If you're not really loving yourself, then you're not going to be able to know what true love is.
Right.
And that's what this book is about, and how she comes full circle in that. And it became a film project because that's how I imagined it when I wrote the book.
That is incredible.
I imagined it as a film project.
And Shayla's Catch is on Amazon Prime.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
It is a 53-minute film, and it is under the movie section.
Yes.
And then my second book, Motivation, The Path to Inner Power, straight out motivation for people who have, maybe they're stuck in a rut.
Yes.
They might be changing careers. They might have had a breakup and just need some motivation, enthusiasm, just a new way of life. And this book takes you on a faith journey.
Yes.
About planting seeds and allowing those seeds to grow and just not being impatient, but knowing that it takes time to get anything in life. So it takes you on that journey, and it has a lot of success tips because as an entertainment journalist, I interviewed a lot of entertainers and celebrities, and I wanted not only to interview celebrities, but to get their tips.
Yes.
The how-tos. How did, not just what movie are you doing? What's your song that you're promoting?
How did you do it?
Yeah, how did you do it? What obstacles did you face? You know, what did you do when you felt you were at rock bottom?
Yes.
I mean, everybody is human, so there are times when everybody gets to a point where they may feel that they are hit rock bottom. So this book motivates, encourages, inspires. Yes.
All the things that we need as believers, because not all the time are our days good days. You know, some days we have bad days and we need some motivation. What would you say to somebody who may not have a support system or anybody around to motivate them, and they may have to motivate themselves?
Well, you just said it.
Yeah.
You got to encourage yourself. I mean, that's in the Word of God.
Yes.
Because you have to know that sometimes that person to motivate you is not going to be there. And it may not, sometimes life has taken me on a journey to where I have felt alone sometimes. And I didn't want to waddle in my aloneness or get depressed. So I had to encourage myself. And by that, the way that I would do it is through positive affirmations, through speaking life into whatever it is that was dead. You know, if I had a spirit of sadness, you know, I said, this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. If I had some desires that weren't fulfilled, I would say, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Or one of my favorite verses was, delight thyself in the Lord, and he'll give you the desires of your heart. So there are things that weren't necessarily Bible verses either. Sometimes, you know, you just get to a place where you're just low in spirits and you don't want to quote a Bible verse. You know? So you say, get up, get up. Get on up.
What I love about that is, you're right. It's not always a Bible verse. It's not always an affirmation. What I love about you is you get up and you walk every day.
I walk a lot. But that didn't start, believe it or not, Dr. Sakonja.
No, you're fine.
That did not start for me until about, I would say, a couple of years before COVID, maybe, because I would go to the gym, and I like the gym so much, but I think it started around COVID, that I would go walking because I did not feel comfortable during COVID going to the gym. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to walk. And then I just became so addicted to walking in nature and having that peace of walking 2 to 3, 4 miles. It was so just rejuvenating for me. So walking is something that is a must for me now.
So it's like maybe like a form of meditation for you. Meditation.
Form of therapy meditation. Therapy. Sometimes I have to watch where I'm walking.
Yes, of course.
And, yes, I have to watch, you know, because a lot of times I do have my phone and I'm looking down and, you know, I have to be aware. But it is so healing for me, no matter what I'm going through. A lot of times I walk in the evenings and the sunset. I see the beautiful sunset. That's another form of healing for me, just seeing a sunset. And I thought before I started walking that I would have to be on a beach to like enjoy nature or to enjoy sunset. Not so. 10 minutes down the street from where I live, I walk around the park, and it is just as healing as being on a beach.
When you walk and you're, you know, in the nature and all the things that God made and created, do you ever think about or become inspired just by walking? Does God speak to you sometimes in the stillness of those moments?
Oh, lots and lots of times. Lots of times. And as a matter of fact, I think that God speaks to me most when I'm in nature. Definitely. And I could see something like a red bird or just the children, just their laughter. Just simple things that mean so much, significant things, the pond, just the water, the way the water flows, the geese. I mean, and it's amazing because I'm like, well, this is interesting. Why are these geese like a little hyper today? And it'll just do something for me, no matter what it is. It could be anything on any given day. That could be something different that would inspire me. Or it could be something, and I think you realize that the filmmaking. I mean, I could be on on my trail and say, oh, this is a great place to film. And I'll
watch you do that. Sonya, you are an incredible filmmaker, director, and you have taken an idea from, many years ago, like you said, taking it to a book, to a film.
So Shayla's Catch is also a prequel. So it's 2 projects. Shayla's Catch, and then there's Shayla's Catch
Prequel.
which is the series.
Yes.
And that is on the TV side of it. And then I have 2 more books.
Yes, we're going to talk about
Yes.
those. So I don't want to get into the depths of the book, but I do know, because we want people to go purchase the book, right? But I do know there are some values that are running deep in the book that we should know, especially with Shayla's Catch. Can you give us like 2 values that is a resounding theme that Shayla should know, or would be Dr. Sakonja should know, or Susan should know, or Jackie should know when it comes to romance?
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I have a lot of chapters in, like, okay, this particular chapter, let me see.
Just turn to any page and it'll be there.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm trying to see, because I'm telling you, I was naming these chapters. When I was naming these chapters, I said, okay, you know what, that's good for that one. This one, for instance, ooh, okay, I don't know about this one. What goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Secrets.
But you know what? It was very, like, traumatic for her, what goes on in Vegas. What goes on in Vegas, because it was a hope deferred.
Oh, that's good.
It was a hope deferred.
That's good.
And really, it made, when I was writing that chapter, I thought about some disappointments that I had.
Yes.
And how you could take those disappointments, and you can share your disappointments if you like. But I think in her case, she needed to keep this one in Vegas.
She needed to keep. How, let's say Sonya Jenkins, how have you turned, because we've all had disappointments, all of us. In your career, if you've had them, how have you taken those disappointments and said, lesson learned, God was trying to teach me a lesson, and move forward?
Okay. Disappointments are a part of life, and in career, I've had quite a few. I think it started, oh my gosh, I can't even start to name the disappointments, but to recall, I should say, the disappointments. But one of them I'll share was when I was working for a television station in Los Angeles, and I was an intern, and I wanted the job so badly, and I was interviewed for the job, and I thought I had it, and I didn't get it. So as Joel Osteen would say, brush myself off and keep moving forward.
Amen. Keep moving.
What else could I do? But in all honesty and you're going to have disappointments. I mean, there are things that I thought that I would be doing that I haven't done still in my career. Most people, I'm an independent filmmaker. I need somebody to finance my film.
We need investors.
Okay. There are things where, oh my gosh, my book. I was publishing my book. This book, I couldn't get it published for whatever reason. And this was a book where I have Bible verses, and I felt like it was more spiritual. And it was the hardest thing to get this book published, even though I had published another book. So I was frustrated, and I was crying. But when you're disappointed, you might cry, but you have to get back up the next day and say, what can I try? What is it that I'm not doing? My film projects. I tried to put in for, what they call my film to be greenlit, and it was a red light a few times, and I didn't know what I was doing wrong, and I just had to keep pushing forward. So for me, I've cried, real tears, but I kept moving forward because I would know that there was a solution. And I always say, what God has done for others, he can also do for me.
Yes.
And if I saw something that sometimes you just get a aha moment, and it's like, you didn't do that. If you can go back and maybe hire somebody to do that for you, maybe you'll get greenlit.
Yes.
Hire somebody to do your captions. The captions were all wrong. That's why, one of the reasons why I didn't have a green light in the beginning of my film project is because my captions were wrong. My photos for what they required were not the right size. I mean, the minutes didn't match the captions. It was a lot, but a lot of people Dr. Sakonja, give up? And they said, well, I got this red light, so let me just, you know what, that's okay.
Yes.
I'm good.
Yes.
I wasn't. I'm never good.
No. I'm
good, but I'm not like good.
I ask Sonya sometimes, how do you keep going? I mean, because I'm amazed at her drive.
Oh, thank you.
I am amazed at your focus.
Thank you.
I am amazed at your persistence.
Thank you.
These are all the things that we need to have as believers. When I watch you create your films, your prequels, I'm
And
like,
you're in one of my films.
I am. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Shayla's Catch prequel, you all.
know,
I think it's episode 10.
Sonya will pull things
Episode
out
5,
of you.
Season 2.
She will pull things out of you that you didn't even know was in you. And she'll call me and say, if I've done a voiceover for her, no, I need you to do it this way. And she'll tell me how to do it, and you do it exactly the way she wants you to do it. I have had the opportunity to be in the room with you when you selected your cast for Fiery Charm. Yes, which is the most recent project that you have. Tell us about Fiery Charm.
Fiery Charm, you all. Fiery Charm is about some young ladies who go to the Super Bowl. They go, well, not necessarily the Super Bowl, but a weekend getaway for Super Bowl festivities. And one gets in trouble. A teacher of the year gets in trouble because she's trying to, again, find love in all the wrong places. Shayla's Catch, oh my gosh, Fiery Charm. But it takes a little twist because she does meet a gentleman who has these values like no guy she's ever met. And he starts to help her change her life. And she realizes that charm can be deceitful.
Yes.
Because what she was looking for is she got something completely different. So it's a lesson, it's a cautionary tale about searching when you're vulnerable. Because a lot of times, you know, she had just broken up with a guy and she was going to have this fun and got with the wrong person.
Yes.
And one of the chapters in this book is called When You Want It Bad. And so I don't know if you heard the rest of that. When you want it bad, you, what?
Oh, help me.
You get it bad.
You get that might be an old one, Sonya. I don't think I heard that one.
Well, somebody told me that one.
But it's so true. When you want it bad, you get it bad. You have to be anxious for nothing. That's what the Bible says.
When you want it bad, get it bad.
Yes.
That's the chapter because it got bad.
Yes.
And for this lady, she got blessed in the end. I will give that away. But Fiery Charm, she gets blessed in the end, but she discovers so many things from her family lineage to her girlfriends, how strong they are, from just a lot, even her family, her mom, her dad. It brings out in a lot of elements, but especially it's a love story.
Yes, it's a romance.
It's a love story.
Yes.
It's a romance. Yes, it is a romance.
Mm-hmm.
Starts off rocky and then it gets like, oh, okay.
Yes.
I see what God doing.
Yes, and we all deserve love. And let's talk about the unconditional love of God. Okay. How have you seen that manifest in your life?
Oh my gosh, it is so prevalent in my life. The unconditional love of God is just there in so many ways. I mean, I started studying Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 13 when I was young. As a matter of fact, for Shayla's Catch, if you want to read that chapter, it's about love.
Oh, wow.
And what love is. A lot of times, though, people get confused. For whatever reason, they get confused about real love. And I was talking to someone recently about agape love and eros love. Because if you are someone that desires love, romance in your life, then more than likely you're going to experience agape love.
Yes.
You're going to experience eros.
Yes,
love
you will. Yes.
Okay. But it's all mixed in together because love is love of God, the love of God, and He made love. So you can't love. Another thing that I said on Valentine's Day is that love is a verb.
Yes.
That means it's action.
That's right.
you have to put action to love. And the unconditional love of God is just all encompassing because he forgives us.
Yes,
We're
he
not
does.
going to be perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Right.
But God teaches us love. I'm still learning love.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I mean, I've had broken relationships. I had great relationships. But I've had some broken relationships where I've had to step back and say, okay, was this love coming from me? Was this love coming from the man? I needed to know. And what I got, the answer was love me first.
Yes.
Love God, love yourself, and allow me to do my will, God's will. And then you will know more what love is.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so do you believe that when we love ourselves more, and I probably going to answer this for you, but please elaborate on it. When we love ourselves more and we really understand who we are as a person, that we attract that, kind of like the law of attraction.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, again, I have to use my book, Shayla's Catch. In order to get a catch, you have to be a catch.
Yes.
You attract what you are. And sometimes I think that people get discouraged, if they don't have love. But if we love ourselves and attract, we will attract what we desire eventually. And that's faith.
Yes, it is faith. It is faith.
That is definitely faith.
That's faith in action. And let me just brag on you a little bit, because Sonya has interviewed the likes of Beyonce, the likes of Samuel Jackson, right? L. Jackson, mayors. Give me some names. I mean, there's so many big people. I can't even think.
Oh my gosh. Let's start from the way back.
Yes.
Whitney Houston.
Yeah, Whitney Houston.
Oh my gosh, Eddie Murphy, Halle Berry, Billy D. Williams. If you're talking about present day people, T.I. I mean, when I say present day, just artists
still around. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Common. Just a lot of people. Alicia Keys. I've had some incredible interviews with people who have made an impact in the industry, in the entertainment industry.
Yes.
And I've learned from them. T.D. Jakes, Bishop T.D. Jakes, that is. And I would not, every time I would interview someone, it was a lesson. I walked away with a lesson. Angela Bassett, oh my gosh, athletes, Evander Holyfield.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Politicians. Grant Hill, politicians. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So it has always been a pleasure to interview. And once I would sit down and interview, just like you're interviewing me, I mean, you become comfortable, and you see how comfortable they become with you. And it's always a joy just to leave an interview and know that not only did I get something out of it, but hopefully they got something out of it too.
Yes, and I don't know, I can't think of his name, but I remember something I saw on your Instagram at Sonya Jenkins, if you want to follow her.
At Sonya's Spotlight.
Spotlight, that's right. I'm so sorry. That's
Y,
right.
Sonya with a Y, 2 S's in the middle.
Sonya's Spotlight.
Yes.
That's right, because I should know that, because you.
But it's Facebook Sonya Jenkins.
Facebook Sonya Jenkins. Okay. So thank you for correcting me. But there was somebody that inspired you to move forward on a filmmaking project. It was a male. Who was that?
Oh my gosh, it's been a couple of
I know, I might have put you on the spot. But you said he said something to you. I can't remember.
Oh my gosh, and I know who you're talking about.
But you can't think, but that's okay.
I know who you're talking about, and I can't believe that you remember that. That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
But it's, oh my God, Ripley. What is his oh my gosh, he's a writer.
Yes.
And I actually was watching the Oscars, and he won for 12 Years a Slave, and I'm so sorry I can't think of the name right now. Brain fog.
I can see his face, but I can't see.
He was accepting an award. He was like getting his award. And it was like, okay. And I'm like, wait a minute. And something was like, you better do it. You better get this book. And that night, I began researching about how to become self-published. And I pushed it through. Didn't even know it was going to go. It was like, published. It's like, wait a minute. I got to go back and do my corrections. But it was, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I can't think of his name.
No, it's okay. But
where's my phone?
The point is that
Google.
sometimes you have to listen.
Yes.
The point is that in the journey, silence is good, but sometimes you have to listen to what others are.
I think it's John Ridley.
That's
I'm
it.
so sorry.
That's it. I remember now. That's it. And I say that is because I know we all have strong opinions about how we want things done, but sometimes it could be one word that someone will speak to us and inspire us to move forward. And you have done that. You have so many awesome projects, and I'm so very proud of you. Also, she is an amazing editor, and she's worked on so many people's books. And that's the gift of writing is definitely deep down in you. It's incredible to see you every time you work on a new project with someone. I know recently you worked on a project with Tamika Foster.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
I helped her. Well, she already had her book out, and she wanted to revise it. And we sat and we went over the book, every little single page, and we got it right. And she's doing really well with that book.
And that's a testament to allowing all of your giftings to work for you. And they all kind of intertwine together. When I look at you, they all intertwine together. And it's such a beautiful thing to see a very intelligent, talented woman display all of her gifts and understand that all of your gifts and never let any of them die, you know, and to stay inspired. And I want to go all the way back because I love this to the beginning. Well, maybe not the beginning because you were always an entertainment journalist, but at Delta Airlines, this is where we met as flight attendants. And so you have a lovely project that is a children's book. Can you tell us about this children's book?
It's called Smiley the Flight Attendant. And I guess you would say this is me.
It's lovely.
People always say, you smile all the time.
Yes.
So this book, I was inspired to write this book after I hung my wings.
Yes.
I stopped flying. And I said, you know what? I think that a book about etiquette, a book about being nice, courtesy, that would be a really good book. Safety.
Yes.
It's a book about safety.
Yes.
The kids are going to Orlando for what? Disney World, probably. But I don't even think I mentioned Disney. But the bottom line is that this book is just a happy book.
It is.
Just a happy book.
It is.
Children flying, just being confident in flying, putting on that seatbelt, being nice to passengers. Oh, you want to let down your window shade? Yes, I'll let it down.
Yes.
You know, just being considerate and not having bags in the middle of the aisle.
Yes. Yes.
Just simple things that really count, not only for kids but for adults. But I wanted to write it as a children's book because I wanted to write a children's book, and I thought, what better way or what better time than now to write a children's book, and this won't be my last.
Oh, of course we know that. We know you have something else hidden in the back pocket and your right and your left back pocket.
It won't be my
What
last.
I love about you, and I say that, you continue to press forward towards the mark of the higher calling.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you sharing your beliefs. But give me, if you had your top three life values, what are they?
Wow.
Yes.
I would say faith, and when I say life values, because sometimes you can't see everything right away.
Right.
So just making sure that you have that faith, planting those seeds, it's all intertwines. You know, if you have faith, you're gonna plant seeds. You're going to do what you need to do to get to the next level.
You're going to follow the biblical principles.
Right, the biblical principles of faith, because faith can be negative too. But we're going to have the positive faith, belief in God, all of that. And also with that, you're going to work hard, because if you don't work hard, you're not going to get far. That's what, I mean, anybody that you see on television. And by the way, I interviewed Tyler Perry too.
Oh,
so
yes, and you worked for
started
Tyler.
working for him
Yes.
on the sets. And there was a time when I wasn't sure if I was just going to be background, just going on set, doing nothing. And then I got an opportunity to do a scene with Bobby Christina, the late Bobby Christina.
Rest in peace.
That encouraged me so much, just seeing Tyler Perry work. And one thing I could say about being on sets and working with him, as well as working with Ava DuVernay on Selma and Lee Daniels on Star, is that they work hard. They work very hard, and there are some hours that you have to keep in filmmaking that sometimes are beyond what people want to put in. And you have to be willing. And that's one thing we learned as flight attendants, that sometimes you get diverted. Sometimes you don't get to your destination right away.
Yes.
You might get there a day late, but you get there.
Yes.
And you have to work hard in order to get there. And then I think you said 3, right?
Yes.
Being joyful.
Yes.
Being joyful and being happy, because really happiness is a choice. So you have to make it up in your mind. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to smile. Smiley, the flight attendant. It could have been the grumpy flight attendant.
Yes.
It could have been, because trust me, if you get on the plane, you're going to see some grumpy people.
Oh, yes.
Flight attendants, pilots,
passengers, children.
But I named it positive, smiley.
Yes.
So being joyful, that's a part of that. I go to different, and as you have too, you go to different cities, and you're like, well, they're that nice. It makes a big difference when people are nice.
Yes,
and just
it
smile.
does. It does.
It really makes a difference.
And the Bible says the meek shall inherit the earth. And
yes.
So we want to make sure that this is a great conversation, because it's teaching kindness and love and being joyful and happy. That's so important along the journey, because along life's journey, we run across so many things that can be negative, but it's always good to turn them into a positive. One last question I have for you. In your journey of faith and business, how important has patience been in the process?
Extremely. I cannot tell you how important patience is, because there are still some things I'm waiting on, that I have to have patience in order to receive those things. And everything in my life that I have accomplished has been a work of patience, a waiting period where I've had to literally sometimes just sit on my hands, like, okay, you know what, be still and know. Just be patient. Patience is something that I think most of us learn for a lifetime. It's just something that we have to practice, and it's something that depending on how, because really, in all honesty, I can be anxious sometimes. I can be like, okay, I need this to happen right now, but the things that we want the most
take time.
Yeah, they take time, but they are the things that we need patience
to
on
get.
the most.
Yeah, to
you
get.
know?
Yeah.
So sometimes we don't get what we want because we don't have the patience. So I have to have that, incorporate that into my life on a regular basis, just to know that even if we don't see it right then and there, that just having just the wait period, you know, just to say, hey, you know, I'm learning while I'm being patient. Sometimes patience requires us to do something else while we're waiting on whatever it is that we are waiting on.
Yes.
You know?
I think you just read my mind, because that was really the next question that I had for you. Okay. What would you say to a young woman that is aspiring to be, say, like a model or an actress,
Mm-hmm.
or even just pivoting careers, IT professional that may have to start off as a waitress or something, what they would consider mediocre until they got to the next level. How would you encourage them today?
Like you said, they may have to start off doing something else. Now, listen, when it comes to doing the things that you want to do in life or getting to a certain level, I call these other things that you do to get there, I call them cousins. I do.
Love that.
Yeah. My cousins, like for instance, some people want to act. And they're like, okay, I want to act, and that's all I want to do. And there are some cousins. There are some cousins. Do you know how to write? Your cousin over here might, have you writing for a little
That's
while.
good, son. Yeah.
Your other cousin over here, you may, do some hostessing. Are you a good host? You may not be able to get that acting job that you want right away. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm a journalist, and I went to school for journalism, but I see a lot of actors using their cousins.
Yes.
There are a lot of actors now who are doing hosting positions. They're doing podcasts. They're writing. Don't put all your eggs into one basket.
Yes.
Because it's all the same. It's creative. And you can help someone else also be able to serve.
Yes.
Be able to serve. You can't go from like, oh, okay, well, you know what, I just want to do this. And it's just like a singer. A singer practices if they have the innate ability to sing and be talented as an artist. That's wonderful. But sometimes they're in between stages where they don't have a record deal. They're in between stages where you're waiting on that album to come out. And do something else.
Yes.
You got some cousins over there.
And the cousins, the beautiful thing about the cousins, I love that term. I'm going to start using that. The beautiful thing about the cousins is you gain more skills and abilities and capabilities during that time, and as well as capacity to handle certain situations with the cousins. The cousins strengthen you. They strengthen your inner core, your inner being, and they also sometimes bring you back to the foot of God.
They really
into
do.
prayer.
I love it. They really, really do.
They really do, yeah.
Because I've had a lot of cousins that have been the things that I may not have been extremely excited to do, even though everything that we should do with all our heart. But I may have been like, okay, I really want to be, let's say, a director. But guess what? Just write the story. Guess what? Go over here and be on the set, or whatever it is that you can do to help yourself.
Yes.
There's some cousins out there.
Yes. And service, I heard you say service. In that, I know I have told you, and I know you serve too, but I told you, anytime you need me to call you, because I feel like that anytime I could be of service to you was good. Not because I was looking for something, but because service is good for me,
Sakonja, you have always been that way. And that's the thing about you that attracted me to you, is you have an attitude of service. I mean, I've known you for a long time, and I would see you at events, and you always wanted to serve. I would see you at high-profile events, and you had that spirit. I remember seeing you at, I think, Evander Holyfield's house, and you were like, hey, if you need anything, I mean, who says that to you all? I mean, I love that.
Yes.
If you need anything, let me know. And you not only had the service ability, but you had the smile and the attitude. And that's what it takes. You can't say that you want to be of service and then have a bad attitude. I'm going to do it, but I really don't.
Yeah.
Who wants to be around a person like that?
So it's so very important for young people to understand service. And how would you tell a young person not to look at service negatively, to look at it as positively, and what kind of benefits could be from serving, because God talks about serving others, and there's an anointing to serving, and there's blessings in serving. So what would you say about that?
Well, I don't know the verse, but it's despise not small things,
Yes.
despise not small beginnings.
Yes.
First of all, service is a blessing. It is really a blessing to be able to serve. And everything that I've done in my life has been serving in some way. As a flight attendant, as an author, you're serving. It's a service job. Even when you're around your friends, and if you're not able to motivate them, think about that. Like, am I able to encourage and motivate my friends to be better?
Yes.
That's service.
It is service.
And it's nothing wrong with being of service to someone else who has I would say, a higher position, quote unquote.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, that's the way that you learn. I was an entertainment editor for Upscale Magazine and a couple of newspapers before I became a publisher. Okay? Before I was an entertainment editor, I was a writer. I still it's just certain things that you have to work your way up to. But through all of that, I was still of service to other people.
Yes. Yes.
And I don't think I'll ever stop serving.
Yeah, it's important, because it's embedded in you. Yeah.
It's embedded in me, but also it's a gift from God to be able to serve and without complaining. And to also, now let me tell you something as far as flying. When I became a flight attendant, I was also doing a lot of my creative craft. I was also interviewing celebrities. So I became a background flight attendant. I get on the plane and I would be, okay, well, I'm just gonna, this position, and I'll be in the back. Well, the last years that I flew, I said, you know what, I'm gonna be what they call the in-flight leader. I'm gonna be the in-flight leader, and people were really surprised because they said, oh, you're flight leader? I said, yeah, I'm flight leader. But it was interesting for me because I felt that was the job that I stepped back and I allowed other people to say, hey, you know what, this is what's gonna happen on this flight. But when I took the leap and said, no, you know what, I'm going to be the leader, and I'm going to choose how this flight, what we're gonna do and who's gonna work where, and it was just a big difference. But I had served, the passengers, and I still continue to as a leader, but there's a difference between serving or being a service to someone and being a leader.
Yes.
And there's a Bible verse, to whom much is given, much is also required.
Yes.
So you need to be happy being of service, because you might not be able to handle the responsibilities of being a leader, because being a leader comes with a lot.
It comes with a lot of responsibility.
It comes with a lot.
And I think you have to build yourself up to that. And so you don't want to jump out, because you need to know how to lead. It's an art to leading and art to leadership. Sonya, I have really, really enjoyed this conversation with you, and I employ everyone to go to Amazon.com to purchase any one of her books, and also to Amazon Prime to look at her prequels, Prequel 1 and Prequel 2 of Shayla's Catch, and also
Season 1 and 2.
Yeah, and also Fiery Charm, and you'll see some familiar faces in her work. I mean, and she creates stars. She is birthing stars from her work, and that is also a gift. And yes, and a badge of honor.
You're in episode 5, season 2.
Okay.
Yes, and I love, when I tell you I look back at it, I was like, Sakonja, oh my goodness, you did a great job.
Thank you so much. Sonya is such an amazing director. She can teach anybody how to act and be an actress. And so I thank you for your time. I thank you for being here. And my heart is always with you.
Thank you
and
so much.
I'm always praying for you. And I really appreciate you. Thank you so much, Sonya, for everything and implanting in me the confidence to be able to do episode 5 of season 2. I appreciate that. You really gave me that.
Yes.
And so thank you for being an example of what Black excellence is. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So much to me. And also, let me say one last thing.
Yes, please.
If you want to go on my website, because it's being revamped.
Yes.
It's SonyaSpotlight.com.
Yes.
Sonya with a Y, 2 S's in the middle.
Yes.
Thank
and you
so
will find
much.
some amazing content and pictures. Sonya will keep you entertained. So please, I mean, and the stories are amazing. You actually tell stories in your captions, and I love that. And that's how I remember about your story about the director, how you got inspired. So thank you for joining us for another episode of Unveiling with Sakonja. God bless you all and good night.
Thank you so much.
Discover Africa's rich coffee heritage through every sip of Kawa Java. Narrator, did you know that coffee is native to East Africa's Uganda? In the 1800s, before coffee was known as a beverage, Ugandans would chew sun-dried coffee beans for a caffeine kick. Fast forward to today, and coffee has become a commercial crop with deep ceremonial significance among the many tribes of Uganda. Ugandan coffee is extraordinarily tasty, with hints of nuts, chocolate, and a host of other natural flavors that are sure to entertain even the most discriminating palate. This is why both coffee lovers and Ugandan coffee farmers have strongly encouraged Kawajava to import Ugandan Arabica berries. Company founder Annette Nanziri often received overwhelming requests to bring coffee back to the United States whenever she traveled to her native Uganda. Out of this spirit, Kawajava was born, aiming to bring the best in organic, sustainable coffee to local roasters and retailers in North America. During her time in Uganda in 2007 and 2008, Nanziri became intimately involved with the entire coffee farming process, from planting to harvesting the coffee berries. She also got to know and understand the quality controls in place thanks to the Uganda Coffee Development Authority. By working closely and directly with local farmers, Kawajava seeks to improve the economic and living conditions of these communities while providing the highest quality products a coffee consumer could desire. With every sip of Kawajava, you're not just enjoying a delicious cup of coffee, you're also supporting sustainable practices and uplifting the lives of Ugandan farmers. So if you're looking to savor the essence of African coffee from farm to cup, look no further than Kawajava. Discover the rich coffee heritage of Uganda with every sip. Your daily ritual just got a whole lot more meaningful. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coffee stories.